A five-star QB with an NIL type recruitment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another recruiting updates video. We've got a major story on Dante Moore, the five-star superstar quarterback for the class of 2023 out of the state of Michigan. He's the number one overall player in the state. It says Notre Dame, who was the presumed leader, Notre Dame reportedly no longer trending with five-star QB Dante Moore. Now, Notre Dame is expected to receive a commitment from 2024 five-star quarterback CJ Carr. But the article talks about how that really doesn't impact the idea that Notre Dame is no longer trending for Moore. If you guys don't know, Dante Moore is currently being courted by multiple teams who use aggressive NIL tactics that Notre Dame won't use, like promising money, giving a kid an NIL deal just to go to a school. You take a look at his projection, it says Notre Dame at 34%, but I would guess that's going to change. This kid's recruitment is wide open. This is a highest bidder type recruitment. Whoever gives this kid the best deal is probably going to get him. You've got LSU, you've got Oregon, Miami, and I'll throw a wild card in there, Texas A&M, who needs a quarterback for the class of 2023. Maybe their boosters zoom in on Dante Moore. He's supposed to take an official visit to Texas A&M, I believe, on June 17th. So the bottom line with Dante Moore, this is a wide open recruitment, and due to NIL, Notre Dame, probably not a legitimate option. Michigan, probably not a legitimate option. And speaking of Michigan, a few days ago, I talked about that recent story on Jaden Davis. Now, you take a look at this. It says Michigan impresses four-star QB Jaden Davis. Now, recently, guys, we had a big shakeup in the class of 2024 rankings. Jaden Davis, who was the number 2 overall player, got bumped down pretty significantly, and now Dylan Raiola is the number 1 overall quarterback in that class. But Jaden Davis is still an extremely unique prospect, kind of a bigger version of Kyler Murray, I would say. Whether or not Michigan can get him, I have serious doubts. I know they received a FutureCast from a Rivals insider this past week, and really, I think that's just clickbait. I think they're trying to use Michigan fans to generate site revenue and clicks. So the Rivals people are saying, listen, you might as well just crystal ball them or FutureCast them to Michigan to get their fan base riled up, maybe get some site traffic, increase ad revenue, things like that. I think it's completely prematurely to be labeling, Michigan as the clear leader. I'm sure he had a very good visit, but for Michigan, this is very interesting because Dante Moore, he's in your backyard. He's in the state of Michigan. He's probably not going to your school. Now, a lot of that is due to NIL. Michigan will not participate in NIL the way a team like Oregon will, the way a team like Miami will. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I've done several videos on the ways different teams participate in NIL. Michigan is very similar to Ohio State, Alabama, where they think NIL is an on-campus entity, and the idea of your boosters making deals for recruits before they sign, they think it would be bad for the locker room. They're not into that. So Michigan, very likely missing on Dante Moore. Maybe they change their tune. Maybe they get desperate and they say, we got to do whatever we have to do to keep this kid home. I'm not saying there's 0% chance they're going to, for Dante Moore, but it's very unlikely at this point. And now in 2024, you shift your focus to a guy that's committing tonight, CJ Carr, also from the state of Michigan, also a five-star quarterback, and he's going to Notre Dame. So you have to shift your focus, and now you're on to Jaden Davis, who's a very unique prospect. But this idea that Michigan is going to land him right now, his recruitment is still extremely young. A lot of different moving factors right now. Dante Moore, Notre Dame, who was the presumed leader for the last 5 months, likely not going to land him. This is a pure NIL recruitment. You're going to see teams like Miami, teams like Oregon, teams like Texas A&M, all heavily involved in Moore. And this could be a recruitment whoever is the highest bidder might land Dante Moore. We've also got another interesting thing. Texas, I've said this, I said look out for Texas on the recruiting trail in 2023. They are going to be desperate. Texas has jumped into the race for the #1 tight end in the country, Deuce Robinson, who recently received a major stock boost with the past few updates in the 2023 class. I think he's now like the number 14 overall player, which is really good for a tight end. This kid is from Arizona. Recently, it's been trending towards USC. You would think with Lincoln Riley, with that offense, the kid is from the West Coast. It's a perfect fit. But now we're also seeing Texas enter the picture. You think Texas is close geographically to Arizona. We saw Texas land 5-star running back Bijan Robinson, who's a superstar now going into his junior season. A few years ago, Bijan was from the state of Arizona as well. So this battle seems to be Texas versus USC for the #1 tight end in the country. And guys, Texas and their NIL boosters, they are going to be opening their wallets. They feel the heat. They know they have to win now. They're going for Arch Manning. They're going to sell Arch Manning and, Deuce Robinson, the #1 tight end, play together. We're going to give you massive NIL deals. Come here. You could be the next big thing. Look at what Quinn Ewers is going to do. They really need Quinn Ewers to have a huge season, not just for their program, but for also the state of their recruiting. They need to be able to sell the fact that Quinn Ewers goes to Steve Sarkisian and really develops. So I'm telling you, Texas is going to be huge. They're in on the #1 tight end. This is a Texas versus USC battle, and this kid is expected to not announce until after his senior season, I believe, is what he was saying. We've also got 4-star wide receiver Rico Flores locking in an official visit to Ohio State. Now, the story on Rico is he wanted to go to Ohio State, but it looks like there's no room for him. Ohio State is Brian Hartline has his eyes set on an absolute star-studded wide receiver class in 2023. You're talking about Noah Rodgers, who I think is the best receiver in the class of 2023. You're talking about Carnell Tate, who is also in contention for the best receiver in the class of 2023. Brandon Anis, who's also a top 2 or 3 receiver in the class, and they already have a solid, low 4-star receiver, Bryson Rodgers, committed. So Ohio State, likely no room for Rico Flores, who just received a major boost in his overall ranking in the latest update for 2023. He is expected to announce and commit to Notre Dame. So this is a great get for Notre Dame. If Ohio State doesn't want him, this kid's still very good. This is like a backup plan for Ohio State as they have their eyes set on a huge receiver haul in the class of 2023. We have some guys committing very, very soon, and I wanted to give my prediction on where these kids are going to go. So the first kid committing on June 19th, which is in 10 days. This is remarkable. It's Jaden Rashada, the quarterback from California. This kid a week ago was a 5-star, but he got his ranking tanked. He's still 45th. It's not bad, but he's not a 5-star anymore, and it's really shocking he's committing in 10 days considering there's no really presumed leader for this kid. I would say right now, if I had to take a guess, maybe LSU or Ole Miss. Maybe. But there's a few different schools that are in on it for this kid, and he's committing in 10 days. You've also got California as a wild card. That would be interesting. But Ole Miss is the team I've heard the most about. I haven't really heard they're definitely the true leader, but I've heard the most throughout this kid's entire recruitment. He's been linked with Ole Miss, and they need a quarterback. So that's where I would say maybe Lane Kiffin lands him. The next few guys, Micah Bell, really solid cornerback from the state of Texas. He's committing July 1st. We expect him to go to Notre Dame. What an amazing job Marcus Freeman is doing his first year at Notre Dame. He's just collecting elite talent. These are solid 4 stars. Brian Kelly never recruited like this at Notre Dame. It's so impressive. Rico Flores, July 3rd. He's very likely going to Notre Dame unless Ohio State opens up a spot for him. I expect him to commit to Notre Dame. Solid 4-star recruit, ranked 185th. The next guy, Christian Gray, committing on July 4th. Notre Dame leads for him. Could you imagine Micah Bell and Christian Gray, two really solid cornerback prospects, both going there? I'm more confident in Micah Bell committing to Notre Dame than I am Christian Gray, but Notre Dame also leads right now for Gray. This is a historically great class Notre Dame's putting together. This is unbelievable if they're able to do this. He's the number 93 player in the country. Notre Dame does have the number 1 overall class. Unfortunately for them, some of their players got massive ratings reduction, so they moved down a little bit, but they still have the number 1 overall class. The next guy we're talking about, also committing on July 4th, Darren Reed, who I think is a top 50 player. This guy's going to shoot up rankings. He's 209th right now. Get him in a few summer camps. He is a specimen, and I expect him to commit to Ohio State University. This is a major get for Larry Johnson. This kid, it's got him at a solid 4-star right now. He's a top 50 player, guys. When he goes to camps, if he does go to camps, he is going to bully offensive linemen. He's a great kid, and I expect, Ohio State, also another team in there, I believe maybe is Georgia, but I would expect Ohio State to land him. The next guy, Julian Aguirre, who is the number 34 overall player, committing on July 23rd. So this kid recently received a bump up to 5-star status, and he is going to Georgia. What a great job Georgia did throughout this recruitment with this kid from the state of Massachusetts, being able to pull him. Ohio State tried and tried and tried, and it just feels like they never could make any headway in this recruitment. He is more than likely, or very likely, heavy lean to Georgia. So Georgia's going to land a 5-star prospect on July 23rd. Really elite safety. I think he's a little bit underrated. I think he's probably a top 30 player in the class. That's nitpicking a little bit. He's ranked 34th, but still a really good player. The next guy committing also on July 23rd, Malik Bryant, who is a linebacker, the number 49 overall player, and my gut tells me this kid's going to be committing to the U. That's just what my gut tells me. He's from Orlando, Florida. We know Miami and their collectives. They're ready to really get into the recruiting game here in 2023. Malik Bryant, you can't afford to miss on a kid from Orlando, Florida. You've been in on him since the beginning. I expect Miami to land him. And then how about Caden Green, who is an offensive tackle from the state of Missouri, committing on July 8th. He is the number 92 overall player, and it looks like it's coming down to Oklahoma and Nebraska. Could you imagine if Nebraska landed a top 100 offensive tackle, from the state of Missouri? What a major get that would be for Scott Frost. Oklahoma, they want this kid bad. He would be the spearhead of their offensive line class for the class of 2023. It's either Oklahoma or Nebraska. I don't know where this kid's recruitment is at in terms of visits, but he is committing in about a month's time, July 8th. I would imagine he would visit both Nebraska and Oklahoma as well. So those are just a few summer commits. But guys, the main story today, Dante Moore, the superstar quarterback. Notre Dame no longer the leader. They are expected to land 2024 5-star CJ Carr tonight when he announces at 7 o'clock. But they are no longer the leader for Dante Moore. This is a pure, I would imagine, NIL recruitment. He is going to be offered a lot of money, and, it's a highest bidder type thing. Also, I'm sure relationships have to do with it, things like that, but this is a major opportunity for a school like Miami, for a school like Texas A&M. Both of these schools need quarterbacks in the class of 2023. Could they flex their NIL muscle and go out and offer this kid a lot of money and completely change his recruitment? Right now, it's going to come down to one of those schools. Also, Oregon. They are big in the NIL game. Could they land a 5-star quarterback from the state of Michigan? If NIL wasn't a thing, I truly believe Dante Moore would be either going to Michigan or Notre Dame. But in the day and age of NIL, I'm not saying it as an excuse to those schools. It's just different schools operate. They do different things. Dante Moore seems like an NIL type recruit. That's the way it's trending, and it's a completely wide open battle right now, so we will see what happens there. But guys, that is going to do it for this recruiting updates video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.